What's up, guys? Welcome back to Coach Overwatch, the Friday show where we look at user-submitted content and do our best to rise in the ranks in the Overwatch community. Today, we're going to be hanging out with Assassin Panda and his Bastion as we attack on Hanamura. So, to get the formalities out of the way, if you want to be submitted or featured on Coach Overwatch, let me know down in the comments. You can send me a YouTube message or you can shoot me an email. You'll find my email in the description. So let's just kick things off and check out the footage. Okay, so one of the first things I want to talk about is I actually really admire your identifying of danger. So over here, we know we've already lost a teammate. Junkrat's bombs are coming in, and you just kind of do a little bit of a flank, and we'll elaborate that a little bit deeper as we continue on in the match. But this is a good setup for your... Oh, let me get that. So this is a good setup for your sentry. Unfortunately, I wish the enemy team was a little bit more, I guess, pushed out, because having that behind them is a very valuable tool, and you can just tear them apart. So I like this flank. I like the idea you had here, and good job getting out of danger. And here it is. There's that opening. It just didn't work out as we had hoped. Good job knowing you needed to get out of that situation as well. You don't want to overstay your welcome. We don't exactly know what kind of heroes are on the enemy team quite yet, but acknowledging that you're taking damage, you need to get out of there, and your self-heal just won't cut it, is a very valuable tool to have in your knowledge bank as a Bastion player. So don't just hunker down in one place and stay there until you die. Get up, move, run around. This is just kind of another unfortunate thing. I'll touch on the negative sides of Mei's Ice Wall. I know we all hate her. She's the worst right now, and Mei's Ice Wall is going to prove a little bit more of a problem. Good job just shredding through it with your turrets. Her Ice Wall, each pillar has the health of 500 health, and the DPS at maximum damage of your turret is 525 health per second. So great job knocking those out and creating a little bit of a peek hole for both you and your team. And there's the power of Bastion right there. You're able to you even make a Reinhardt back away. And we have another ice wall. This just kind of stinks. Good pressure. I knew it was coming. So unfortunately, we heard Junkrat's ult for just a second and a half. Our teammates knew to get out of there. We didn't know how close it was exactly, and then as soon as it appears, it blindsides us and takes it out. So I guess one could say that you could have exited sentry mode as soon as you heard Junkrat's voice line, maybe tucked around that corner, gone into the other room for hiding, and he would have targeted. No offense, I'm not throwing Reinhardt under the bus, but had you gotten out of sight, out of mind, he would have taken the players or heroes that he could have gotten at least. So one could stress that as soon as you hear the voice line, it is good to just get up, get out of there, and take cover. So he just was too close. So this is not your fault. And let me see if I can show you. Reinhardt moves. There it is. There was no reaction time whatsoever. It's just something we have to talk about. But thankfully, the Mercy reses you. And we're greeted with another ice wall. Let's break through it, and you're able to apply more pressure for sure. And you actually charged your ultimate. Here's the problem. So we get in there, boom. She's brought up that ice wall already once again, basically shutting down your ultimate the best that she could. So what can we get out of this? Well, let's think about this. We already know that we're dealing with a Mei who's very proud of her ice wall placements, and rightfully so. We don't have very many players on our team or heroes on our team that can get up in that top ledge right there and create enough pressure to break up the enemy team. So they're kind of relying on her as their first defense. Unfortunately, I feel like we were a little bit overly excited to use this ultimate, and we didn't take that into consideration. And there she goes. One thing I like to call this, if you will, is Mei's Wombo combo, because she goes into her ice form and she heals up, and 9 times out of 10, you'll see a Mei heal up and then try to shut down anyone who's chasing her with another ice wall. And she does just that, and unfortunately, your ultimate gets drained because of that. So just think about enemy habits and what they are doing consistently. And in this case, Mei was using a wall to block her enemy's advances, which means your ultimate just kind of fell a little short. You did get some enemies, and let's see what happens here. Okay, so there's the wall. We bust through it, and we make a little bit of a push. But here's our problem. I think that our fellow teammates had a little bit too much confidence, and in a second, let's see. Okay, Reinhardt makes the push, and then Mei's wall gets split. So, let me elaborate. So Mei's wall has split our team. So more than likely those two are going to die, and we have the possibility of them shutting down our tank, and I can't remember who else went in there. Let me see. 2 tanks. It might be our Roadhog. Our Reinhardt and our Roadhog. So our 2 most powerful tanks are separated from the team, and we have basically a handful of squishies. We have Zenyatta. I know you're not squishy, and then we have a Mercy. So 2 squishies, and I think the Reinhardt initiated that push based off the confidence that he had from you using your ultimate. So the responsibility is not on you, but the Mei did split our team, which is a little bit of a problem. So good job getting in there and then setting up right away after that to do your best to maximize Mei and take her out. Okay, so this is another thing that I want to point out. I wanted to watch that little battle with D.Va right there, because 90% of the Bastion players use him in sentry mode all of the time. You always see it. If someone's Bastion, they're hunkered down somewhere and just applying constant pressure. And I feel as though people forget the power of Bastion as he runs around. So great job making sure you were up in the D.Va's face and you were able to shut down her mech ultimate. So good job. You ran around. You didn't just see her hunker down and apply pressure. She could have gone in that back corner. You chased her and you took her out before she caused more of a problem. And let's see what happens. Okay, so here comes our first real problem. We have a Junkrat, and once again, I need to say this is a really great job. Most of the time, if we are capturing a point, we'll see a Bastion hunker down, and it is effective, it's useful, but by now, most of the players in Overwatch know how to counter a Bastion. I know for myself personally, Genji is the #1 way to go, just deflecting all of the shots or using Reaper's Wraith form to get around and apply pressure. But here, you've stayed in mobile form, and you're able to run around and fight with that Junkrat before he causes more problems. I guess a couple people could have argued that had you set up sentry, maybe this back left corner. So I'm trying to reach out to all of the die-hard Bastion players out here. You could have set up sentry that would have covered all angles just to make sure no one got in. But let's pretend that Junkrat had gotten around. You had peppered him down far enough where his health, he didn't really have a chance coming in. That Junkrat maybe would have had his ultimate, so had he gotten around the corner and you weren't there to stop him, he could have team wiped, or who knows, he could have laid a trap and we could have been out a tank. So great job getting out there and dealing with the problem. Here we're doing the same thing. We had a lot of people chasing after that soldier, so he was done for. But great job again knowing to stay mobile. And right there, let me rewind this. We're going to let this play. Can we just stop and talk about that Genji deflect? That was amazing. So good on you. I don't know if that's your friend, but pat him on the back. That deflect was pretty cool. All right, back to business. This sentry setup you have right here is very, very good. The last episode we talked about, it was the D.Va guide, and we talked about the importance of peeking and how valuable that is, because more of you is in cover and you're still able to see the exposed enemy players and create that pressure. So good job peeking. It's very, very effective and it's very strong. And here we're just doing our thing. Great job hearing the Junkrat ultimate. I feel like we learned from our mistake in the last time and we got for cover, and wonderful aim right there, making sure it got taken out and keeping your teammates safe. So that was awesome. Good push here. Okay, let's look at this for a sec. So I think this could go both ways. One, it was a good it was a good advance towards the enemy, and unfortunately D.Va is using her self-destruct. And if we watch, I feel like you just kind of accept your fate. I know we have this mentality of, all right, I'm not going to go down without taking someone else out with me. Unfortunately, the Reinhardt did survive. We can imagine the situation. So let's pretend the D.Va overshot and the suit was actually more on the outside of the entrance rather than right next to us. So you could argue that you could have got out of sentry mode and tried to fall underneath the bridge, or you could have backpedaled just a little bit and gotten into that hallway. So I don't like the idea of just accepting defeat. I think you should always fight for your survival in Overwatch. We want to keep our team as alive as possible. So we just kind of sat there and accepted it. I think measures could have been taken to avoid it. So just put that in the back of your brain, kind of think about it a little bit, and then be aware of situations like this in the future. However, once again, your teammate Mercy is wonderful at her job. She comes in at all the right times and revives people when they need it. So thankfully, we're back in the fight. However, we have to talk about the upcoming events that happen. Okay, so once again, I think we were a little bit too excited to use our ultimate. I like that word today, excited. I am excited to help you, Assassin, so thank you. That carries over. So we got rezzed and we said, uh-oh, I need to do something. And right as soon as we got back to life, we popped our ultimate. And I think, just like with anyone else, it's always good to take a 2-second breather. I almost said 5. That's a little too long for a fast-paced game like Overwatch. But take a 2-second breather and say, is this the right time? Because then you would have gotten stunned, and then we could have countered the Reinhardt's advance with a full-fledged Bastion assault. Here, he was able to open up his shield, absorb most of that damage, and all of the enemy players were able to shut you down. So take a breather, figure out, is this the time? And then use it. I know you're using your microphones, so I bet you $1 million right now you're saying, crap. But it's A-okay, just take a breather. All right, let's get back in the fight, okay? Let me get up there. A couple people have saying there was a lot of downtime in the other videos, so I'm trying to minimize that as much as possible. Okay, this is one thing that I'd like to say. I want to take a moment to thank you and really, really stress how mobile you are as a Bastion, because it's so easy to go right back to that entrance, hunker down, and then shoot. But with you, I imagine a Genji player when I watch you use your Bastion, because you're always on the move and you're looking for different attack or angles to attack your enemy. So here you're able to take out the Junkrat, and I thought it was really, really good. A lot of people aren't expecting to see a Bastion in Sentry mode behind them. So keep it up, and unfortunately, maybe that Junkrat's on his mic because they noticed you way too quickly. That Reinhardt did come up for the chase, and right here, you're going to you're going to do a heal, and I think it was a little too risky. I want to talk about it. It all happens so fast, so I'm going to try to talk about it before it actually happens, and then we can kind of see what I'm talking about. So the Reinhardt comes up, and you do a quick heal before we know he's coming, which is fine. I mean, we don't know he's coming until right now. But then you're going to go on a retreat and then heal again. And I just think it was a little bit too risky. The Reinhardt could have pinned you or done his shockwave again. It just was a little too risky for how close you two are. Take note, watch this clip, and you'll see what I mean. You got an extra hit in, and it wasn't necessary. It would have been better just to backpedal, grab that health pack right outside the door, and maybe set a little bit of a trap for him. Come out when he's not expecting it. So keep up the unpredictability, and then be safe on taking your breaks to heal. Thankfully, a teammate Zenyatta comes in and actually goes in for the kill. I really, really, really like it. Okay, so this is a pretty common strategy. We're just going to hunker down and do as much damage as possible. There's a couple key things to talk about, but let's just kind of watch it first. Okay, so let's talk about it. Let me get back there real quick. And then we should get... Okay, so the Zenyatta goes in for the kill. And we pop up Sentry Mode, which great. This is a really good time to do that. Here's the thing. In Overwatch, and in a lot of games, it's always good to kind of follow through with your kills. And it looks like you are aware of that. So this is more of a message to the general public who's watching this. Because if you watch, you are very good at tracking your opponents. And here we had, I'm going to assume it was the Soldier 76. I could be wrong, but I'm going to assume it was Soldier. So Soldier ran for cover. We know what happens next. And you switch and acquire a new target. Well, that one's gone behind that cover, so we switch to another one. There's our Lucio, and right there, you're doing a very wonderful job tracking, and I know you're going to whip over there and finish him off. So, to the general public, make sure if you are hunkered down in Sentry Mode, or actually any other hero, it could be applied there, follow through and finish off your opponents when you are safe. Make sure that you don't do enough damage where they'll get healed, and then the enemy Mercy gets her ultimate charged, or something like that. Finish them off. Create an imbalance between team fights, and just follow through and track your targets. Make sure you finish the job. So here's the next part of that. That Soldier's going to come up and start applying pressure. Okay, yep, we're going to back off, we're going to heal, and then we hunker down. And so here's the big picture of all of this. This whole match, I've been talking about how mobile you are, how the key word here is unpredictable you are, because not a lot of people expect to see a Bastion behind them. So you're doing a great job being unpredictable, and this is our one moment that we are predictable, and it comes up and bites us in the butt, because Soldier 76, what does he do? He's unpredictable and is able to unfortunately eliminate you. It was a good play on his part. I'm giving him props where he's earned it, but if you're a very strong, unpredictable player, just be mindful of that. So, unfortunately, we get taken out. I'm going to zoom us ahead once again to get back into the action. Okay, so we're here. One thing, I want to say good job not just going straight back into Sentry Mode. This is a very unsafe situation to be in. We don't have a lot of teammates around us at this time, so you're still applying the necessary pressure. You're getting kind of recon on the enemy team to see what they're doing. Maybe their Reinhardt could have been taken out, and I assume, because I can tell that you're constantly up. Oh, I should say this to the general audience. His name is not Assassin Panda in game. It's, excuse me, Gruo Panda. I don't know what that means. It might be Spanish for assassin. It might be something completely random. So for those maybe a little bit confused why I say they're talking, now you'll see his true in-game name being represented. So you've come over here. You're not in Sentry Mode, because that would be very, very dangerous. And you're still applying the necessary pressure. Here's something we got to talk about, though. I don't know if I want to let it play out. So we're at 5:06. Let's just watch. Got hit with a bomb. I'm still watching. I'm still watching. I'm still watching. Okay, here comes D.Va. So, we're at 5:21. From 5:06, 5 minutes and 6 seconds to 5:21, what were we doing? You had plenty of health. Our team had come back. And I think we got too scared away by one Junkrat bomb. If you were a hero that wasn't able to self-heal, and let's say that health pack right in there was gone, okay, step back, take a breather, wait for the health pack to recharge. I understand that. But here, we could have still been chipping away at that ice wall, or we could have been applying pressure. Our teammates were here to help us. And I just feel like we wasted a lot of time that we could have been throwing down hundreds of damage points towards the enemy to maybe break their defenses. And good job avoiding this D.Va ultimate. I will give you props there. So that was wonderful, but we wasted a lot of time between this and there that we could have been using. Okay, so we're going to get back in here. We're making a little bit of a flank. We have a Reaper with us, thankfully, and we've hit some resistance. D.Va's come up, so good focus on her. And we're going to retreat a little bit. And I like your idea here. Let's watch. So Reaper's down, unfortunately. We heal up, and then boom, you've set a trap. I think that's really, really smart. Unfortunately, she did not come or fall for it. But I just want to say that was a really good play, and it was a really good idea. So I liked it a lot. Okay. I know you were communicating with your team. Here's an example. You've taken out Soldier 76. I think you could have been better off. Well, you'll see why. I think this was a situation where you could have just stayed mobile because we get taken out by the Junkrat. And it's just one of those things. It's the first time out of, 5 times I've applauded you for staying mobile. So just be mindful. Did you really need to hunker down for this situation? It did get you taken out, so think about that. Okay, so we'll get back into the fight. Alright. I can't hear the audio. I know I've talked about it in other episodes, how I'm kind of going blind. I have to go by memory. I watch the footage once for enjoyment, then I watch it again to critique it, then I watch it again, and then I watch it again to analyze it and kind of stress my main point. So I know by memory, right here, we can hear that the Mercy's in trouble. So I just want to take this time to thank you for going in to protect the Mercy, who has done a wonderful job for your team. So great job. I like that play a lot. At this time, I want to talk about this. If we go back, I'm just going to go back to when you helped the Mercy. That's a good starting point. So here you go. You've helped her. Great. Here's our problem. This is our 3rd time, 4th time maybe, in a row that we've tried the same exact flank route. And if we have a smart enemy team, they're going to catch on to that. Thankfully, we had some flankers going this route as well. But I think we needed you more in the center of the charge because of the amount of damage you can do. Because there was a lot of time in here where we could have been affecting that Mei before she popped her wall. It's just, we had too many people going this route. And kind of touch on it again, for you personally, in this one moment, this is another time where you are starting to become very predictable once again. And you don't want that. So mix it up. 2 times flank right, 1 time go straight, then another time go straight, and then 1 more time go straight, and then go back to flanking right. I know we're not a hero who can flank left and cross the gap, but just kind of mix it up a little bit, keep enemies on their toes. That soldier could have been up there waiting for you. There's just a lot of things that could have gone wrong. Thankfully it didn't, but we had a lot of flankers going this route, so I think you could have been better off being used in that middle attack. You'll see, let's kind of judge how long we really, it's a tough thing to say for sure, but really weren't doing anything. Are you starting to kind of see what I mean? So, let's watch this next fight. Okay, we've used our ultimate, and I'll just let it play out. Okay, so let's look at this. Let me pause it real quick. Here's everyone. Well, let's go back to when we used our ultimate. And this is kind of a common thing, so don't feel like I'm singling you out for this or nitpicking. It's just a common thing to drive home for the players of Overwatch. This was a very, very potentially, I can't say, I don't know exactly what you're communicating with your team, but this to me looks like once again, a blind ultimate. And unfortunately, by the time we get down there, everyone is pretty much gone. And when do they show up? Well, everyone shows up when your ultimate is over. And it unfortunately results in a bad push. What I think would have been better is to just take a breather, analyze the situation. Did they need you? Would the sentry have been better? I think it would have. Just take the situation, take a deep breath, and then go from there. Watch it again just to kind of let it sink in. And here we are. And then we're getting frozen as well. We have the D.Va with the self-destruct. That was a very, very good coordinated... Ooh, can't talk right there. Very great coordinated pushback from the enemy team. Okay, here's my biggest thing. I don't understand why you changed heroes. So, for everyone watching, now Assassin is Junkrat. And I'm going to touch on why I think you switched to Junkrat at the very end of the video. I could be wrong, so please let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on why you switched to Junkrat. But there's things we need to talk about in regards to the Junkrat's play. So let's get back into the fight. Let me see real quick. Trap has been set, and then here we go. Okay, so coming up here is a good idea, as it always has been, because the enemy attention is going towards your team, or the majority of your team. The problem is, let's watch the bombs. So you shoot them, and maybe 1 out of every 5 shots, or I don't know for certain, but they bounce once, they bounce again, and they go to the wall, and they all fall a little short. Nothing is really doing anything right now. So the way to counter that is with Junkrat, think of it as an arc and kind of plan where you want your grenades or balls to land. So I think it'd be better to arch them, hit them on that wall right there. That way they'll roll or spill or bounce right back into the heart of that enemy defense right there. As you can see, it's just not really doing too much. And here's another thing. You have your bombs. This would be a very, very good time to throw that and maybe send that Reinhardt flying back a little bit, or split up the team, or interrupt May's wall right there. So you have another tool that you just unfortunately aren't using. And also, let's see where that D.Va went. I like to think this as like trap shooting. For those who don't know, trap shooting is when a clay pigeon goes up into the air. You can follow it with a shotgun and you shoot it. Well, let's think the reverse of that. So we see the D.Va flying, and your trap, your snare on your left side isn't doing anything. I think it would have been really cool to try to throw it out there, maybe snare her as she lands, or actually snare anyone. Look at them, they're right there. So a snare, a bomb, or a grenade, excuse me, your A ability. It just would have been helpful. Use the tools that you have as Junkrat if you're going to switch to Junkrat. This is the key time to do that. Okay, so the enemy Junkrat's seen ya. There he comes. Good job getting him. And here, we still haven't used our tools. Our grenades, let's look at that again. The grenades that you are shooting are bouncing way over there, so they aren't anywhere near the enemy team. Plan ahead, try to bounce them off that wall so they'll bounce, they'll traject that way and then bounce to the left and spill into their ranks. Now they're falling off over there, so and we still haven't used our tool. There's one. Unfortunately, it just doesn't get anyone. And we get taken out. Thankfully, We have our grenades that got a little revenge kill for us. But it just didn't work out. And unfortunately, so viewers at home, I pulled this footage from a Twitch stream that he thankfully provided me. It wasn't ideal, and actually it was a little glitchy. It worked out really, really well in the long run, but unfortunately this is where our footage ends. So I don't have any more of the match. As we can predict, it did wind up in a loss. So I'm just going to go to a random point in the match, and then I will go over my summary. So let me pull out my notes, as I always do, and just kind of talk about this. So first off, let's start with the good. Number one, I'm very, very glad to see that everyone is communicating. There we go. I was like, uh-oh, I'm not looking at anything. So good communication between you and your friends and your teammates. It's very important, and it goes a long way. Number two, good job staying mobile as Bastion, because a lot of players just like to hunker down, and by running around as Bastion, being in unpredictable spots, or knowing when to just engage with your normal gun, makes you harder to counter. So let's pretend there was a Genji on the enemy team. If he doesn't know where you're going to be all the time, or actually if you're not consistently spraying hundreds of rounds in his direction, he's not able to counter you. I know it doesn't apply to this exact setup, but it's still something to remember the next time you pull out Bastion. And then number three, along the same kind of routes, good job using Bastion as a flanker. I can't remember if I already said that, but it is something I want to say. You used him in a way that kept him unpredictable. Unfortunately, here's the situation where we were predictable. I did not mean to pull that up. It was all random. But by putting Bastion in places that people don't necessarily expect to see him, it will be effective, and you will take out more of the enemy team. I'm going to zoom ahead because the things that I think you need to work on really apply to the end of the match. So, number one, I think you need to be more mindful with your ultimates. Take a moment, say, do I need to use this right now? Or is this a good time to use it? Because right here, everyone appeared after you used your tank form. So, take a breather, figure out, is this the right time to do it? Number two, oops, I don't want that to appear in the video. Sorry, guys. Number two, mix up your attack patterns. You have gone to that right flank so many times in a row. How do I want to say this? An above average Overwatch player could have picked up on that tendency and always would have been there to counter your flanks. So mix it up every once in a while. Go right, go middle again, then go right again, go middle again. Maybe use this Junkrat's boost to get to the left side of the flank. And then finally, number three, it just makes me sad because I don't understand why you switched to Junkrat. I think I had more criticism for you as a player once you did switch to Junkrat, both for the trajectory of your grenades, the failure to use the tools or abilities that you have, and then it just unfortunately did not seem that effective. So keep that in mind. Think about, why am I switching? And I think the reason you did switch is because you were frustrated at the enemy Junkrat, or at least someone on the other team was frustrated with the enemy Junkrat, and it just kind of was like, oh, well, if the enemy Junkrat's doing that much damage, then maybe I can do that much damage. So I don't want to end on a bad note. So once again, thank you so much, Assassin, for sending in your footage. It means the world to me, and it means the world to me for anyone who sends in their footage. So it is you guys who keeps this series alive. I can't thank you enough. Remember, Coach Overwatch is uploaded every Friday. Thank you for tuning in and getting coached. This is Jack and No Trades signing off.